Welcome to Toffee TV, it's the Daily Extra. We're here to discuss the fact that looks like niasse is going to Cardiff City on loan with the possibility of a permanent deal.
So he's back in the summer.
Yeah, he's back in the summer when he fails to keep them up. We'll wait and see. The enigma that is niasse.
Sad day.
Is it sad?
No, not at all.
It's not sad whatsoever.
No,
but at the same time, like, I've got no actual problem with niasse, apart from the fact that he's just not a very good footballer, which is not really his problem, not really his fault. If someone's come up to me and said, "Do you want to play for Everton?" I wouldn't go, "Yeah, but I'm rubbish." I'd just go, "Yeah, where do I sign?"
40 grand a week, or whatever he's on.
Play for Nottingham, Baz, you disgust me. I wouldn't play for Nottingham because, you know, I would eat
to live.
Yeah.
You've got to show, and if you'd agreed to play for nothing, you'd be showing the club that you knew you were shit and undervaluing yourself. So you'd have to ask for something, even if it was minimal wages.
You'd have to be paid, wouldn't you?
You'd have to be paid by the actual default of being a professional or something.
There you go.
Needs to be paid. But anyway, niasse. Yeah, been here 3 years almost, hasn't he? It was 3 years ago this month that Roberto Martinez defied everyone's scouting opinions and officials at the club who said, "Don't sign him.
Don't sign him, mate.
Sign Moussa Dembele, or sign," because don't forget we could have had Moussa Dembele that day for £5 million. As well as a couple of other strikers, but he wanted niasse, and we bought him for £13.5 million, and you know, where we are 3 years later, he's about to leave.
Never got over that wrist injury.
The wrist is, you know, it's a problem. It can be a problem.
It can be one of the worst injuries.
It is. Quite clearly it was that season. You know, kept him out for a long time. No, I did listen, he come in and he'd done well in Russia, and we hoped that he'd offer us something alongside Rom, really. He'd played, we had Andy Brassel in, didn't we? On the deadline day. Usually he's on another radio station, well-known radio station, and he's a European journalist and very knows a lot of stuff, and he said he could be really good for
He clearly never watched him.
No.
He clearly never watched. He came in here thinking, wow, it's the bright lights, big city, Toffee TV, I've made it. He just blagged it. He literally just blagged it. Made an absolute...
He did say...
Made fools of us that day.
Not really, because he did say that he operated on the left for locomotive and he was okay.
I know, but he meant being a steward in the ground.
See, now you're just being disrespectful to Andy Brassel and Niasse.
Oh, okay.
No.
And stewarding.
And we hope, and stewarding, yeah, by default. We hope that he'd go in alongside or give another options with Romelu Lukaku, and we thought, well, if he scored some decent goals, which he had, and we've got Rom scoring goals, it'll help us. But I don't think, and we said this at the time, the manager mismanaged them totally, made such a panic to get that deal done, so you could use him at Stoke on the Saturday. So we brought him out the night of the Newcastle game in a pair of jeans, give him a replica shirt, and told him to do the maddest run down the pitch. And I had the video, and my mate actually said to me, "He's not a footballer, look at him," because he had a pair of like Lonsdale trainers on jeans and a replica shirt
and a mad cap,
and he just ran. And it's like, footballers don't run unless they need to. I don't know why he did it, but that night was the Al Barkley penalty tip. Remember, we won 3-0, so everyone was like, "Oh, he looks alright. He looked the way he runs in jeans." I bet he runs brilliantly in shorts. But then they got everything sorted in time for the Stoke game on Saturday. Everything was passed. They had Everton admin, you know, chasing work permit stuff and everything. It was all done, and then he didn't even put him on the bench on the Saturday. And we won 3-0 at Stoke on Saturday as well. But it was a bit, and then we just didn't see him, did he? And then he brought him on he came on a Villa for his debut, or Bournemouth. I think it might have been Bournemouth in the cup. He come on with like 8 minutes left or something. And he continued to mismanage him, didn't he? Put him on against West Ham.
He didn't come on against Villa, did he? Wasn't it the Villa game we won 2-0? We won 3-1, but like towards the end it started getting a little bit...
Did he not put him on? I thought
he might have, but he didn't. He put him on quite...
If he put him on, it was like 5 minutes in the end. But it was the West Ham one, wasn't it, which he put him on and proceeded to play 2 up front with 10 men when he wouldn't play 2 up front with 11. But yeah, and from there, that was it. Martinez didn't know what.
I remember when he came. I know we spoke about it loads of times, but I remember when he came on against West Ham and just seeing a play. I looked at him and just thought, you don't know where to run, what to do, anything. It was.
I've seen that before, though. From
no, but he was really bad. He didn't have any kind of tactical idea of, and that comes from the manager, not the player. He didn't have any kind of tactical idea of what he should do, and we were suddenly down to 9 men.
See, really, what Martinez should have done that day was just he should have took Rom off and put him up front. If that was if the idea was to put another forward on, he should have just said, go and play up front, because at least he kind of might have known what he was supposed to do. He didn't. I think it was Aaron Lennon he took off that day, who'd done a really important job for us. And he put him on the right, and then Cresswell. But anyway,
should have put Gareth Barry on. Well, yeah. Another thing though, like you forget, is we sold Naismith, and brought him in, and it was never have sold Naismith. Not saying
we all were crying out for another striker. Yeah, we all were, and then you get caught up sometimes in football with the hope that these players you don't really know are going to be this unknown gem. But you forget that people know that every player now, the clubs, and if they just left someone and you've got no competition for someone at a competitive price, which that was, you kind of go, why is no one else bothered by him? You know, and we got rid of Naismith, who, whether people liked him or not, you knew what you were getting off him, and he popped up with important goals.
Put it this way, if that West Ham game we put Naismith on,
oh yeah,
he would have known exactly what to do.
We'd have increased our goals, because they got one of them sent off, because he hated West Ham, didn't he? And particularly Tompkins, and he knew how to play the game, the kid. And what's really frustrating is, I actually think Koeman would have loved Naismith, because I think he was that type of, I think he was a clever player. He was another one. Was he good enough for Everton? Well, he had a slow start and then became very important, and then Martinez, when he seemed to get him really firing, just discarded him.
But he was an intelligent player, you're right.
He was a good player.
What he lacked in actual ability,
probably pace, really.
Yeah,
I think.
But he's clever player, and
great at winding the opposition up and get free kicks.
That false number 9, played really well.
That's what I mean with Martinez. When you look back, I know this is about niasse, and we'll get back onto it, but when you look back, he seemed to have something with Naismith, Lukaku one set, like Morales the other. It looked brilliant, and then the next one, Naismith was just like back on the bench and never seen, and you were like, why are we? Because if you remember the transfer window before that, Norwich wanted him, and it was like, are we going to let him go? And we were trying to get, might have been Gabbiadini then, we were trying to get him in, it didn't happen, and he wouldn't let Naismith go, and you were like, why was he even considering it? And then it got to January and he let him go, and
bizarre.
But, you know, niasse, it didn't happen for him that season. He played at Leicester, didn't he, when he went down there, and he should have scored that one, the worst chip ever. And then Koeman come in and made his mind up very early on him, didn't he? But treated him atrociously early. But the kid didn't moan, and he went off to Hull, and Marco Silva, funnily enough, gave him some confidence and played him on the left for Hull, down the left hand side, really. And he done well, scored the winner against United, the winner against the second goal against Liverpool, and ended up done alright for Hull, almost kept them up with Silva and with the other players. And then Koeman had to call upon him, didn't he, when by, you know, people, I've seen someone in our comments when talking about him, and it was like, one joke, blah, he only used him because he had no one else, and you're like, you're forgetting though that Koeman had the option to buy someone else and refused 3 strikers who would have made a big difference, because he wanted Giroud, but didn't know Giroud, you know,
wasn't
allowed out of London, basically. And when he used them, he done all right for us.
Well, yeah, he did. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it was a funny turn of events, wasn't it? I remember us sitting here for like going, you don't have to start using this fella, isn't it? We did a couple of videos on it, and then, you know, we got wind of you know, his squad numbers were getting changed.
Well, if you remember, just to go back 12 months when Koeman wasn't using them, and we weren't playing particularly well, he started playing for the 23s and was banging goals in.
He was.
And Unsworth was like, he's great at what he does.
And he had like really good relationships with the likes of Tom Davies and people like that.
Weird,
and he was doing really well. As you said, he scored really important goals, and people were like, I mean, we had conversations about it. It was funny because we were saying look, the under-23s and saying, oh, is there anyone in the under-23s? And then we're like, well, yeah, there is. His name's niasse. And we're talking about young players, but what's the difference? If someone's doing it at a level and you haven't got a particular striker, then why not give them a chance? And then that came into last season, where he was basically forced to. You know, I mentioned there, they brought his squad number down to number 19, and we were like, ooh, I wonder what's happening here. And then he gets on in the cup game against Sunderland, wasn't he? Scored the goal, and everyone was just made up like for him. And you could see all players like Tom Davies were made up for him because they obviously worked with him in the under-23s. And then on the Saturday, you know, we has to do it again, and you could, you know, he comes on, scores, and you look at Koeman's face, and he just wasn't happy at all. No. He was just like, it was almost like, number one, I've been made to look stupid, but number two, this is where we are as a club, that I'm reduced. But, you know, fair play to him last season. Went on a great goal scoring run, you know, ended up with 9 goals last season. Some really good goals as well. Some goals, he scored the first against Watford, didn't he?
He got us back into it, yeah. Chasing a lost cause.
Yeah.
Well, I still say his best goal was Arsenal when we were 5-1 down, because, or 4-1, no, 5-1 down, because the game, it was 93rd minute, the game was finished, and he's running out like a lunatic, and he ends up, makes a mistake, and he pops it in.
But for him,
yeah.
They were the goals, that goal was the you know, we think the Watford game was the week.
That was the catalyst.
A couple of weeks after, wasn't it? So that was like the start of it. You know,
that Bournemouth game, we were getting beat 1-0 when he come on, and it was grim, and we were on a bad run, and Koeman was against the, you know, backs to the wall, and he scored twice and won us the game 2-1. And you're right, Koeman's face both times. He should have been on the pitch celebrating, because that's what managers do, because he should have been going, I've give this lad the opportunity, I've brought him in and he scored, so it's down to me. But he couldn't take it, Koeman. He couldn't take it.
So humble.
And didn't. Well, that was it, didn't it? But you're right, he went on a very important, you know, scored against Arsenal, scored against... so we got to the stage where, when he got booked for diving at Palace, we were gutted, because he was on a good little run. He was the only one who really looked like scoring goals for us, and if he got a 2-match ban, and we were like, oh, for fuck's sake, as if now he's out.
I know.
You know,
mad, isn't it?
It was mad, because that's football, isn't it?
But when he got, I mean, his goal against Palace was brilliant again. Because he's not a bad finish. He wasn't a bad finisher.
No, he knows how to put the ball in there. For everything else he lacks, he knows how to score.
But his finish for that goal was really good, and the way he won the penalty was really good. And whether people, nobody thinks it's a dive. Nobody. When you see the ones now that are you know, don't get given, and oh no, it's fine. It's mad. And you're right, that 2 games, it's sort of, I don't know, it just with the crossover of Unsworth going out and Allardyce coming in. Obviously Allardyce,
the biggest problem for Niasse was that he couldn't play in that West Ham game, and he would have played in it. Obviously we won 4-0. So on the Saturday, when he was available again for Huddersfield, he was sub, and I think Dom started, hadn't he? And Dom played really well. Dom scored actually, so you know, so that was fine. But he came
set up the first and scored the second.
So we come on, and there's a bit like running around a bit like a headless chicken again, and I think his confidence was, and Allardyce, listen, the manager comes in and probably looks at a first and goes, you see, Unsworth gave him all that confidence, because Unsworth had him in the 23s and he'd done well for him, so David Unsworth will probably say, yeah, he's limited, but you know what, runs around for you, works hard, and knows where the net is. In fact, last season, before Koeman put him in, I remember Everton playing Chelsea away, and he won 3-0. I think he scored 2 on Peerless. And after that, it was like Koeman put him back in the thing then, and it was like, yeah, he's able to continue that. You know, his finishing's quite good, and 9 goals.
Finished second top goal scorer, didn't he? Yeah. It just shows you, doesn't it? I mean, it is all about times and moments, and you know, I think, who did he come on and get the equaliser against? Remember, it was his first touch.
What do you call West Brom? Yeah. Took Tosin off, and he came on, and like 20 seconds later he scored. Scored.
Lovely goal last game of the season against West Ham.
Yeah. Listen, just the Bournemouth game and Watford, the goal against Watford when we were 2-0 down, turned the crowd on its head. You know, the next minute and in doing, you know, he was played his part in Gomez getting injured as well, because he jumped for the ball that got stood up. He was in there because he's mad, which he is. He doesn't like, other players might go, no, the keeper might get that. He was just like, I might get this, and he ended up a big, you know, when the keeper goes off, and then the next minute he scores, and then and you're right, the goal at Palace and the goal against West Brom, all important goals, whether, like you say, I'm not saying he's brilliant, because he quite clearly isn't, but what he is, for a very limited footballer, he's hard worker, and he knows how to put the ball in the net. Listen, he comes on. When you come on, he comes on the game, you go, he'll score it. You can see the striker's toiled, and you go, you bet you he scores.
I think you're right though, what you've just said. He is very, I think he lived on that confidence, didn't he? And what, if people had confidence in him.
Yeah.
And I think he'll do alright for Cardiff, I really do. I think he'll score some goals, and he might be the difference that keeps him up, because he's also got like that attitude that's infectious as well. I think the Cardiff fans will love him because just of all the work rate, and he'll be loved, and the manager will say, you're my striker, and you know, like it probably was at Hull, and it was under Unsworth, as you said. And I don't you know, I know he's not a great footballer, but he did a job and he won us some points. And for me, I look at it and just think, well, he never bad-mouthed us. He could have called us all kinds, because if he thought his time was definitely over, he could have said what he wanted about us.
Do you hate Valencia?
No,
only scored 3 goals. No, I think Valencia done alright for us. He wasn't a brilliant footballer, but he was useful. He come on and scored some important goals for us. So it's like Niasse. It's like having Niasse. It was like having him on loan last season as just an emergency.
But I don't understand this idea of hating. Why would you hate? Well, I mean, what would be the reasons to hate Niasse or hate?
I've just seen.
Valencia. I don't hate Lukaku, and I never will hate Lukaku. I know you do, but I don't, because.
But I hated him when he played for us.
No, but I don't. I loved him because he scored goals for Everton, and all that other stuff I can put to one side, because I understand that footballers are pricks, a lot of them. But Niasse isn't a prick, by the way. I think Niasse is sound. Yeah. He may or may not have done other things that make him a bit of a tip, but I just think he was.
From an Everton perspective, he's been.
I just think he's a limited player who, when the chance came, took it for a little window and done his job. People, I don't understand this thing. Oh, he's fucking.
I've seen some terrible comments by Evertonians about him, and I'm like, why do you feel that? Why are you? It's almost like your frustrations that we haven't got a world-class striker are taken out on him. And it's not like he's played and missed 48 open goals. The kid, generally, the worst game I've seen him have was West Ham this season, when he missed about 3 sitters and he was dreadful. Other than that, he's always been okay. He come on at Brighton, but he was last 15 minutes. He wasn't great, but he worked hard. I don't understand what people's, if there's, and I know it's probably a very small percentage of Evertonians, but I just don't understand why you would be like that. But like, people were messaging Cardiff fans going, fucking wait till you see him, the worst player ever, you'll be sending him back, and you're thinking,
do you know what, I have said publicly, especially in his first year, that he was like the worst player I've ever seen. But number one, he's changed my mind, and number two, that doesn't mean I'd ever say, oh, he's fucking this and he's fucking that. Why do certain people have this thing that just because someone's not the player they want them to be, that he's utter shit? Like, for me, Ashley Williams is a fucking knobhead, right? That's not because he's shit at footy. It's because, for me, I just think he's a fucking knobhead because of what he did at Burnley. Purposely getting yourself sent off. I said the same about Sneijder after what he did against Leon. Fucking dickhead for what he did against Leon. You could see straight away what he was doing, trying to get himself off. I've never ever once seen Niasse or some other players, Strack-Lowersi, or they were given a chance. And for a brief window, they grabbed it and you just go, sound, nice one. And then they left and you were like, thanks for doing that little thing that you did. You ain't a very good footballer. The person who bought you should be fucking, should have a staying word. Well, not, you know what, Strack-Lowersi I don't, because Moyes was in a fucking, Moyes had nothing to lose by doing that. Done it, and he got a couple of goals out of the lad. Niasse might be slightly different. Martinez had other options, as we mentioned, didn't have to sell Naismith, who would have been a better player, and didn't listen to people. So really, Martinez is the fucking dickhead. You know, Niasse's not.
At the end of the day, Niasse's come in, he's worked hard, he's improved as a player, obviously. because the player you saw in the Premier League last year was different than the player you'd seen previously. He come on, he done a job, and that's the end of it. He's not our main striker, is he? So I don't know why people are so wound up.
And the other thing about Niasse as well, when he was in that little, like we've talked about, having game after game after game, it did improve him as a footballer. And probably the reason why he came on against Brighton over Christmas and everything was banging off his shin, because he hasn't played for ages, and he hasn't been playing for the under-23s, and he's been just, and that, he seems like that kind of player, that the more you play him, the more he's comfortable, and the more confidence he has,
he's a better player,
the more you'll get out of him.
Well, look at Wayne Rooney, who's one of the most talented players that this country's ever seen, certainly that Everton have ever produced. You leave him, he said himself, he has 3 weeks on the subs bench. He's fucking crap. He's crap for 3 weeks while he gets his rhythm back. And you're talking about a world-class player that Rooney was. And I'm not even putting the ass in the same breath, but I'm saying that when players aren't playing, it shows, and some players need games to get A, the confidence up, and B, to get, like, feel themselves into what they should be doing. You're getting thrown on out the blue at Brighton like he did when he hadn't even been in the 18. He's not, and like you say, he's not playing under 23 games. You're only throwing him on there in the hope that the ball drops in the box and he puts it away. So, you know, I just don't understand why anyone would wish anything on him other than I hope he goes there and does really well for them, because he deserves it. And I hope he keeps them up, and I hope they sign him, and Warner shot faith in him, because I think if Unsworth would have stayed, if results would have been better under David Unsworth, and Everton would have gone, you know what, we're keeping Unsworth till the summer, I think Niasse would have ended up with loads of goals, because Unsworth had loads of faith in him.
Yeah,
but
I'm just going to miss his little smile.
You know what, I look at it and just think, we're not, you know, he's not going to be in Everton's squad now. If we were picking an Everton team, he's not going to get in front of Gentos, and certainly not Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison. So I wish him well, and I hope that him going out means that Everton will try to bring in. I just wish he could control a ball, because I think if he could, I genuinely believe if he could control a football, he'd be a decent player in the squad. He would, yeah. Because his energy, he's quite quick. He's quick, isn't he? He's got good energy. He's a decent finisher. Good attitude, and he's also got a bit of nous of knowing where, like we spoke about, he capitalised last season on mistakes, and he's got that little bit of nous of not giving stuff up. And I don't know if other players have got that, and it's a hard thing to have. But I suppose he's probably learned that because his other things when, you know. Well, if he's a centre forward, the best goal scoring centre forwards are instinctive. They're not some of the best. You know, John Aldridge. You know, one of the worst footballers I've seen as a footballer, but one of the best goal scorers you'll ever see. Gary Lineker wasn't great. Gary Lineker was quick, that was it. But he knew where, and he'd get mistake because he'd expect the person to make a mistake. Was Tony Cottee a great footballer? Was he shite? Tony Cottee wouldn't touch the ball in a lot of games, but then the ball would drop in the box, bang, goal. You know, it's almost now as if people think, well, to be like a striker, you've got to be unbelievable as well now. Well, that's because we play one up front now. Well, we do, but that's the part. He was never going to be your main striker, though, was he? He wouldn't be now. And if Everton had a couple of better strikers, I'd be quite happy with Niasse in the squad to just throw on with 10 minutes left and have one off his arse, because you can't. The one thing that's so difficult to buy in football is goal scorers, and whether anyone likes it or not, he knows how to put the ball in the net. Yeah. By hook or by crook, off his head. One off his arse, one off his head. What was the one where it was going in and then he nearly missed it, and luckily enough Watford, wasn't it? Hit him on the arse, and well, he got taken out, the lad would have been sent off, but it hit him on the arse and the head and rolled in. You know, and it was that alone is impressive, isn't it? So incredible scenes. You know. There you have it, Niasse. I missed my sweet prince. I won't miss him, but no, I wish him only well. Although if he scores a few goals for Cardiff, you wait. Don't we? Well, wait for an hour. How strong wait till Saturday. Wait till Saturday when he scores. Veins. That's what you love, Saturday. He'll score up at Newcastle. Oh, Cardiff! Come on, Umar. It's a winner at Newcastle. I'm Everton. We go. I'd have kept him, you know, just as an option. The same ones who were moaning. There you have it. Let us know your thoughts about Niasse. Is he sound?
Is he your sweet prince? Have you ever seen anyone run better in a pair of jeans? Let us know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.
And Lonsdale's in a replica shirt.
And a weird cap.